Hey guys, welcome back to Tech Corner with myself, Shea Stedford, and from his studio today, Jay Picasso.
Yo.
So today we're going to talk to you about creative methods. Now what I mean by creative methods is different ways of achieving, most of the time, the same result. Now you may be thinking, well, what's the point? Like, why not just do it the same way that we do it all the time if we're going to get the same result? It's more consistent, we know what we're doing, and there's less risk involved. However, the upside of this is the journey you take in order to get to that result, the things that happen within that journey. Let's think about vocals, for instance. If I've got a recorded vocal that sounds quite nice, but the amplitude of that vocal or the volume isn't as consistent as I'd like it to be, the end result would be a more consistent vocal. But there's many different ways that we can achieve that more consistent vocal. One of which is the obvious, volume automation. We can use either a gain plugin within our DAW to automate the volume. Depending on our DAW, we might be able to do this within the actual clip gain itself. DAWs like Pro Tools give you the option to do this. Logic doesn't give you the option to do this as yet, but you can still use a gain plugin in order to automate the volume of certain areas to get that consistency. But that's the obvious one, volume automation. Another option would be compression, using a specific type of compressor with specific dynamics controls in order to make that vocal more consistent over time. I mean, the obvious answer is to record a consistent vocal in the first place. So this could either be via vocal technique or using compression on the way in, which can be risky, but if done correctly, means you don't have to do this afterwards. All of these things, though, result in the same thing, a more consistent vocal. But it's the journey that we take in order to get that consistency. We're now going to move over to Jay from his studio, and he's going to talk us through how to get consistency in a vocal recording by using automation.
Cheers, Shay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run this vocal through a gain processing plugin. Now this plugin is very simple to use. All it's going to do is adjust the volume of our vocal. As we get into the Logic session, I'm going to start to use this gain processor to automate the volume of the vocal. And as you guys may already know, this is really what a compressor does. So today, I'm going to attempt to use this gain plugin in the same way a compressor might automatically automate the volume of a vocal. So let's get into it. So after listening back to this vocal a few times, I have assessed that there are a few peaks that I want to manage, and I'll give you a couple of examples of those peaks.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen.
So cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, until I'm done, I'll keep you clean. So those words, these first words,
Cover
your mouth seems to pop out a little bit.
your mouth, you got red, I got green.
And then the word red, and then let's keep going.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen.
Don't suffocate now, until I'm done, I'll keep you clean. All right, so some of these words we want to reduce the volume of whilst maintaining this nice volume. I've adjusted the vocal to a good volume level. What I want to do now is manage the peaks and the dips. And I'm going to do that using this gain plugin. So I've opened the Logic automation window using the button A as a shortcut. That brings up my options here. I then go through and select the gain plugin. It gives me all of the automation parameters. However, in this instance, I just want to use the gain. So with the gain selected, this line now becomes that gain. So keeping the gain on 0, what we want to do is start to automate this volume now. So I'm going to click around the peaks.
Cover your mouth, you got.
And bring those down in volume a little bit.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got.
And same for red.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green.
Okay, we can smooth that out a little bit, but you see what's happening. So let's bring this first one down by 6, and let's try and keep these consistent, because they will be consistent. As our vocalist sings down the track, she will start to project her voice in similar ways throughout.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't.
Red seemed a bit harsh, so let's smooth that out.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green.
Now what you'll notice is with however long it takes me to return back to 0, that's essentially the same thing as using an attack or a release. What this is doing is telling us how quickly the volume will return back to normal. So in the instance of a compressor, this would be known as the attack because that's how quickly it's dipping. And on the other side, as it leaves the compressor unit, this would be known as the release. So how quickly it returns back to zero. And it's up to me now to smooth these out.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now.
So I'm going to keep it consistent by pulling these all down by about 5. Minus 5 dB is what we're going to. So you can tell how hard our compressor unit would be working to level out this vocal already.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen.
Patient, she says patient twice in this sentence, so bringing that down by 5. And again over here. You can see I'm just literally clicking on this line that's presented in front of me and dragging it up or down, and in this instance down. Like I said, I set the volume to a pretty good level, so it was really managing the peaks more than the dips in this instance.
Cover your, don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen. Be patient with me and I'll be patient with you. Cover every surface we fight there.
Comes in a little bit harsh there, so let's bring that in lower, this particular sentence.
Cover every surface we fight dirty, kiss it clean, yeah. Ooh. Cover every surface we fight dirty, kiss it clean, yeah. We kiss, we fight, we kiss, we fight. Ooh. Cover every surface we fight dirty, kiss it clean, yeah.
So this is now how I've managed to control this vocal using only the gain plugin. Let's have a quick listen and see how that sounds.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen. Be patient with me and I'll be patient with you. Cover every surface we fight dirty, kiss it clean, yeah. We can.
Let's listen once again, just as I've made some adjustments.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen. Be patient with me and I'll be patient with you. Cover every surface we fight dirty, kiss it clean, yeah. We kiss.
Right, let's see how that rolls with the track.
Cover your mouth, you got red, I got green. Don't suffocate now, wait till I'm done, I keep you keen. Be patient with me and I'll be patient with you. Cover every surface we fight dirty, kiss it clean, yeah. We kiss, we fight.
And that is how we would manage the vocal using just the gain plugin in Logic. So Shay, that's that. Back to you.
Lovely, cheers Jay. Now we're going to move to my studio where I'm going to be going through the same sort of thing but with vocal compression. So, ready?
That's good, wasn't it? So, as promised, I'm going to record a vocal in right now and I'm going to have it at random volumes. It's going to be a random sentence. I've got a microphone just over to the left and I'm going to say it into that. It's going to record into Logic, hopefully at random volumes, and then we're going to use a compressor in order to get more consistency in those volumes over time. So let's get straight into it. Let's press record. Here we go. Hello, my name is Shay. Today I'm going to give you an overview of how to use a compressor to get more consistency in your vocal recording over time. Look at that. Beautiful. So, right, let's chop this up so we're a bit more efficient. Here we go. Let's have a listen. Hello, my name is Shay. Today I'm going to give you an overview of how to use a compressor to get more consistency in your vocal recording over time. Hello. Oh, I cut off the time there. It was so quiet. I cut it off. There we go. Make sure I got over time. Your vocal recording over time. Beautiful. So that's my vocal recording. As you can see, very drastic in terms of its dynamic range. Now, by dynamic range, I mean loudest point to quietest point, the range of volume within that area. Now, we can use a compressor to get more consistency. So within Logic, you will find a compressor under the Dynamics menu, again, because it's a dynamics process. So I'm going to open the Dynamics menu, open up the compressor, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview of these controls, okay? This may look quite daunting to start with. When you break it down, it's actually quite simple. So first of all, we have this threshold. What this is a decibel number that you decide from that point, whatever the decibel number is you have on the dial, from that point upwards, compression will happen. Anything below the number you set as a threshold won't be compressed, okay? So what it is you're just setting like a bar, you're setting a threshold for the point at which compression will start to happen from. Anything below that, it's not going to even bother with it. So I'm going to keep this at, say, minus 25 decibels, okay? Everything above that is going to be compressed. Everything below that won't get touched. Nice. Next, we have a ratio. Now, what this is, it works hand in hand with the threshold. Wherever you've set that threshold line, anything that goes above that, you want to pull it down in volume. That's the point of compressing, to get the volumes more consistent, reduce the dynamic range, the range of dynamics. Now, the ratio is what does this for you. This is a division number, simple ratios like you had at school. So, for instance, a ratio of 2 to 1 would be half. So, for instance, if I go over the threshold by about 10 decibels, if I have a ratio of 2 to 1, I'll go down to 5 decibels because it will halve the amount that's gone over. If I have a ratio of 10 to 1, all I do is whatever's gone above it, I divide by 10. 20 to 1, you divide it by 20, and so on. I'm going to put this to 20 to 1. Okay, so we're at 20 to 1. Everything above minus 25 decibels is going to get compressed by a ratio of 20 to 1. But now we have two more controls down here, attack and release. These decide how fast the compressor starts compressing, and then also how fast or how long it's going to take for it to stop compressing. So the attack, a fast attack, very fast, set in milliseconds, would be as soon as the volume is breached, it will be brought down to its ratio amount of whatever you have set very quickly. If you have that slow, it will let that audio breach the threshold because it will just, it's not reacting fast enough. It will pull it down, but in its own time. Like it's gonna, I'm busy, like, just give me a minute. That would be a slow attack. Fast attack, quick, really quick. Release, exactly the same thing, but in terms of how it lets go of the compression. So once it's been pulled down, the release decides how quick it's going to stop compressing, going to throw it back to being not compressed again. Fast release would be very quick, it like springs back. Slow release would mean once it's pulled down, it takes really long to end up being uncompressed again. So for things like consistency, we might want longer release times, faster attacks, and longer release times. So as soon as the volume breaches the threshold, it gets pulled down in volume and it gets held there for a long period of time. Consistency. So let's try this out now. I'm going to use the graph here in Logic. The graph in Logic is going to give me a visual representation of what's being pulled down within this graph here. Let me make it a bit bigger for you, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So here, let's have a listen. Hello, my name is Shea. Today I'm going to give you an overview of how to use a compressor to get more consistency in your vocal recording over time. As you can see, what it's doing is it's only pulling down the really loud bits. That bit, that bit, that bit. It's not doing anything to here. This bit, nothing. This bit, a little bit here, nothing. See what I mean? So it's pulling down the loud bits. What I need to do now is make up that gain. So I've lost quite a lot of volume here. Let's have a look. Hello, my name is Shea. See, it's pulling it down by quite a lot. I'm going to make this even more drastic now, okay? I'm going to pull the threshold down to 30. So even more volume is going to be in the compression circuit. It's going to be seen by the compressor. And I'm going to add in about 7 decibels. Hello, my name is Shea. Today I'm going to give you an overview of how to use a compressor to get more consistency in your vocal recording over time. So right, let's have a look and actually see what this is doing. It's all well and good looking at it as a visual in the graph, but let's see what this looks like as an actual audio file. So I'm going to right click on this and bounce it in place. Yes, all good, perfect. We're going to leave the original one, bounce. Lovely. So now look, here we go. We can see here, this is now bounced as a stereo file, okay? Even though this is mono, just look at the top one. These are identical, okay? So just look at this top one compared to this one here. Look how much closer the volumes are to each other than they are in this one, especially in areas like this. Can you see how closer the volumes are? If I was to turn the compressor off on this one and just have a listen to this one. Hello, my name is Shea. Today I'm going to give you an instead of hello, my name is Shea. Today I'm going to give you an overview. What you're getting is the quieter bits sound louder because we've turned them up with the makeup gain. But what we've really done before that is turn all of these loud bits down. Then we've turned them all up relative. So what we're getting is we're still getting a dynamic sort of sound. It just gives the impression of moving away from the microphone a little bit. Now you can overdo this massively and end up having just a completely flat vocal. With the settings that I had on this compressor, they're quite hard settings for vocal compression. It was just to show you that this can be done using a compressor. This is something to try out, and this is something that you should definitely experiment with. So back to me.
I'm back. Camera trickery there. Professional. So as you can see, there's many different ways that we can get around achieving the same result. In this case, it was vocal consistency. How can we get vocal consistency? We can do it the utility sort of way with automation that Jay showed, or we can use a compressor, which the only job it has to do is create consistency. That's why we're using it. But this theory works with everything. This works with how you record things. This works with how you go around designing sounds if you're doing a sound design session. And the best thing about this is it's completely up to you. There's no boundaries. You decide how you achieve that goal. The only thing that's set in stone is the goal at the end of it, the end result. If you can achieve that, how you do that is completely up to you. And a byproduct of this is having loads of different techniques in order to achieve the same result. So if there's ever a time when you're in a session and you get writer's block or you're not really sure what to do, you know that you've got all of these options to help you get to that desired place. So take these ideas forward, not just on vocals, but on anything. Think outside the box if you can. So that's it for this week. I've been Shea.
And I've been Jay.
And we'll see you next time.